Mesechta Avoda Zara, Daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph. Yeah, and we're starting from Yud Aleph Amud Beis, the Mishnah. See the Mishnah here? Oh, Ir sheyesh bo Aved Yechab, a city that has an idol there. So the people serve, those people in the city serve it. Chutza la'muta, those that are right outside the city, with those people you can do business. We said we cannot do business with people who in the city who serve idols, because if you do business, they're going to go right away badankin thanking the getchke. But those that are outside the city, they don't serve those idols that are inside the city. So with those people that are right outside the city, you could do business.
They don't want to waste any time. They have to go back.
Right, they have their own Avodah Zarah. What's if outside the city there was Avodah Zarah, but inside the city there wasn't? So those inside the city you're allowed. Taicha, muta, those inside the city.
Not close to them, you could have.
Even if it's close, but if it's outside the city, outside the walls of the city. So again, if it's inside the Avodah Zarah, inside the walls of the city, those that are right outside, you can do business with them. If the Avodah Zarah is right outside the city, then you can do business with them on the inside of the city, because those people are not serving idols. So wherever the idol is, at the opposite side, meaning if it's outside, they're not serving idols. With them you can do business. If outside is the Avodah Zarah and inside is not, with them you can do business. Zok the Mishnah, what's the din b'negei leilach l'sham, to go on the Chaga to that city where there is Avodah Zarah? Says the Gemara, are you allowed to walk on that day of the Chaga to that city where there's Avodah Zarah? Says the Gemara, if the road only takes you to there, Yud Aleph Amud Beis, the Mishnah. If the road only takes you to the city where the Avodah Zarah is, also then you're not allowed to go, because people, those that see you going on that road, are saying, hey, you're for sure going to the Prava to celebrate the Chaga that's in that city. But if it was a road that forks off, and you can go to other places as well, so not necessarily are you going to Prava the Chaga in that city. Mutter, you're allowed to go on that highway, even though the highway also takes you to the city where there's Avodah Zarah, but it also goes to other places, so you can't be chesed. When the Mishnah said, right outside the city where they don't have the Avodah Zarah, with those people you can do business with, how far is right outside the city? Says the Gemara, they used to have a meat market right outside of Gaza. I don't know today. Gaza today doesn't exist, but they had a meat market right outside. That's how close, he says, right outside the city of Gaza. In Gaza, let's say, was the Avodah Zarah, with the people in the market you were allowed to do business with, because they didn't serve the idols; they were right outside the city.
They were busy with business.
Business, yeah. He could help me, right? Others say, yes, this. The Ikadami says this is how it was. Rabbi Shimon Lakish the Shaila. See, yeah, sure. At Leiza, Shalaza, the meat market of Aza. What kind of a din does it have? Because it's right outside the city of Aza. He says, did you never go to Tzur, to a city where the Yidden are going together? And you see in such a place that the Yidden would going over there. In the olden times they had public kiras, public ovens. So the Goyim would place their pot, and next to the pot of the Goyim, the Yid would place a pot. And the Chacham weren't concerned that the Goyim, when he turns away, he might throw he might throw a novela there. So just like you're not chesed for that, so too the meat market, which was right outside the city, or where the Avodah Zarah were, you don't have to be chesed. They weren't the people from the city, and they didn't serve idols. Says the Gemara, what Issa was there with the two pots? What was the concern? So we're going to have three shitas. One will say the concern was Issa or Isa. Abai is going to say it's Issa or Isa. Rav is going to say it's Issa or Abanan. and Rabbi Bar Ulam will say it was the Stam Achumra. Okay. Abai said Shubsar Nevela. We say we're not concerned that maybe he put a nevela, the guy put a nevela into the Yid Shabbat. Maybe the Yid turned around his face for a little moment. And the guy tying of and threw in the nevela into his pot. Now you're talking about it. Isa Daraisa. You have nevela in the pot of the Kedei Shal Yisrael, and we're not concerned. Okay. He says nevela with cooking meat over there. So he says similarly the kavasa hachanami. Here also. What are you concerned about? That the people who are buying the animals from you, you're Yiddish seicha, you're selling animals. You're afraid that the people who are coming with the money are coming. You're right, are bringing money from the people of the city, which that money was used for Avoda zara. So that's a Yisra Daraisa, because there's a pasuk. We have a state lo yidbak biyotcha bi'uma min acherim. It says you're not allowed to have it by the dachas. You're not allowed to have no b'shumeifen in any way. So we have to be concerned about Yisra Daraisa. So just like by Tigdeda, you weren't concerned that maybe the guy threw a nevela into the Yiddish pot. I'll let us say here we're not going to be concerned. The Chacham weren't concerned that maybe this guy who was outside the city took money from a guy inside the city, and that money was used for Avodah, and now with this money he's buying for the Yid. This is a Abai shit. Rabbi says, no. He says, what does it mean that what kind of Issa were the Chacham not concerned about? Because the guy is going to cook. What does it mean the guy is going to cook? The guy is going to cook the food for him. The Yid is going to let him cook, or light the fire. But if you're watching,
because they're very close.
Because they're very close. And really, it's not such a Issa if you're watching. If you're watching the guy the whole time, it's not really. It's not called Bishulakum.
But you have to go away, make a piss, and
no. He says because if you're gonna start becoming so friendly, letting him stir your pots and lighting, even though you're standing there, so he says, the end will be you'll get intermarry with them. So that's why they stopped it.
But he doesn't have to light the fire, or just to look on it.
You can watch. The Yid lights the fire. The main thing here is the guy is stirring the pot. Here he says, "Shabbat Yisrael Yisrael Achusha Yabas Rabbanis Michael." That's good enough.
So you don't have to watch after that.
Yeah, because he gets so friendly. He's gonna get so friendly with him.
It's more than one pot, Why he doesn't have to watch if he cooks on it?
He does, but let's say you're watching. Even if you're watching, but the guy is stirring. It's not easy. The guy is stirring the pot. He's lighting the coal. Or he's stirring the coals and igniting the fire. You're there. So he says that, but nevertheless, we're afraid. It says the Kavasa al-Khadami, here the same thing. Because of the Shash, maybe they'll do business with Edom on the Chagah, which is the Isra Abanam. We're not concerned that these Goyim that are here outside the city. So these Goyim went into the city, and also these are from the Goyim that might go, if they did a good business, they'll back into the city and thank the Getchkes there. That maybe the guy will go to the city where they're celebrating the Chagah and there to thank. We're not worried about that. These people outside the city have nothing to do with the people inside the city. We're not concerned that maybe they're going to go there and thank the Getchkes. Rabbi Ullah says, what was it? He says, because maybe when he's splashing and he's stirring the pot, a drop might spray and go into the Yiddish pot. But it's called a Iser Kal. It's a very light Iser. The minimus. And it's bottled by Rav. It's bottled to the majority. It's not. It's called a Iser Kal. So he says the Kavasa Kahachanami. Here also, what are we talking about? We're talking about 3 days before the Chagah. 3 days before the Chagah is people don't even thank the 3 days before. Yeah, so the Chacham weren't concerned if it was before the Chagah. So we learned the Mishnah Mal Leich Shop. We said if a person wants to leave a city, he wants to go on the highway, leave his own city, and go on the highway where it goes to the city where the Chag, where they have the Avoda live, and where the Chag is. So if the road only leads to that city, he's not allowed to go on the day of the Chag, because when people are going to see and they're going to be chayshit, he's going to prove the Chag with the goyim. Nicht nur business, wer weiß, was geht up dann. But if the road goes two ways, so forks off the road, so Lav Dafki is going to that city, so then he's allowed. Tanya Rabbanim have learned, the Rabbanim learned, a city that has Avoda Chadim, that has an idol, you're not allowed to enter it into that day, into that city, because people will say, you're joining with them in Avoda Zara, right? And you cannot go from that city into another city, because people are going to say, of your province at Chaga, and people see you coming out of the city. That's a terrible thing. So he's Dibri Avneya.
So where should you go? There before you mean?
Yeah, but we're not. We said we're going to be chesed.
So where is he going to go? Where does he have to go?
He waits there till after.
I say
Dibri Avneya.
it says one place.
Yes, those are the words of Avneya. As long as the road only leads to that place, then it's forbidden for a person to go on that road, because everybody's going to say he's obviously going to the city with the Avoda Salila. But if the highway is not only designated to go, it's the road that doesn't only go to that place, but it goes to other places, then mutter, he's allowed
Where's
to.
it still happening in Eretz Yisrael or outside Eretz Yisrael?
This is over here. We're talking about Eretz Yisrael, cities in Eretz Yisrael.
Somebody going.
Yeah, goyim. Yeah. Yashav loikitz. Zog if a guy got a big splinter, in front of the idol, lo yischav yitlan. He shouldn't bend down to take it out of his foot in front of the Avoda Zara. Because if he's going to bend down to pull out his splinter, it's going to look like he's bound to the Avoda Zara. But if he does it in a way, if he does it in a way that it doesn't seem like he's bowing, let's say he turns with his back to the Avoda Zara sideways, then mutter. Yeah. Anyway. So he says, if it doesn't seem like that, mutter is going to be mutter. If his money is spread out right in front of the Avoda Zara, he's not allowed to bow and pick it up. It looks like he's bowing to the Avoda Zara. Yeah, have some backwards. Yeah, if he has a way to do it. That's what he says. If he does it with a back or sideways, mutter, he's allowed to take his money. If there was like a river, a stream going in front of the Avoda Zara, he's so thirsty, he wants to bow down to take a drink. He can't. Seems like he's bowing to the idols. He may need a mutter, but if he does it in a position that it doesn't look like he's bowing, he's allowed. Partsufes. If you go in Italy there was like faces where water fountains were coming out of the mouth of these faces. Like also regular faces.
Yes.
One, like a big matzeda, and then there were 4 faces. I was just there, so and the water is coming out of the mouth.
You want to drink from the water?
So you want to drink? You walk and you drink mamish from the guy's mouth, from the statue's mouth. So patzuf is
It's not a living thing.
no, it's not. But I don't. The shik is still is the ice. It's not. It's not as chama. Bowing is much more severe than kissing the Avoda Zara. So if you have these faces that the water is pouring out, and he says lo yaniyah piva piham, don't put your mouth on the mouth of these these faces. V'yish then drink. Why? Because it looks like you're kissing the Avoda Zara. Similarly, lo yanich as piv al silan. Here it's not because of Avoda Zara. Then it's something else, yeah. Lo yaniyach piv al silan. Here it has nothing to do with Avoda Zara. A person shouldn't put his mouth on the pipe that comes out of the ground, and drink mipnei sakana, because it's a sakana. The pipes that are coming from the ground, so the water that comes into the pipe from the ground, they come in with aluka, leeches. it comes in with leeches. So you might put it, and you might eat bugs that suck the blood out. Yeah, they're very dangerous to eat. They're not good stuff to eat. Sagt die Gemara, my Einach Nida. Says the Gemara, what's the kavanah that he doesn't look like? If it doesn't look like he's bowing his mutter, what does that mean? If you're going to say, oh, people are not there, so he's allowed to do it. What are you talking about? In every place where the Rabbanim forbade, because people will see and will think that you're serving idols, even if there's nobody around, you're in the most hidden rooms, you're not allowed to do it. Because once they asked it, because of Marasayan, even in your most hidden place, you're not allowed. This is talking about when you're dealing with a Isa Daraisa, not a Isa Darabana, Marasayan you can do privately. Says you want to only say the Kavanah of the Braisa is if he's bowing, that what does it mean? If he bows in the Eifen, that it doesn't look like it. How? That he turns, like we said, he turns his back towards the Avoda Zara or his side, but he's not in front of the Avoda Zara bowing. Zok the Gemara, why do I need 4 cases? You gave me 4 cases. You gave me a splinter. You gave me a case with money. You gave me a case with kissing the Avoda Zara with the Patsu face, and with a river. What do I need all 4 cases? Says Gemara, we need them all. If I would only learn the case of the splinter, I would say, he can walk away from he's in pain. Let him hop away from the Avoda Zara and then pull it out and bow down and pull it out, but not in front of the Avoda Zara. But money, you can't walk away. You can walk away and lose the money, but if you want your money, the money is right there by the Avoda Zara. So Ema, I would say, the Chacham didn't ask him. It's a hafsed money. What we don't do for loss of money. So he said, no, we're not. And he's telling you you're not allowed. And if I would only learn the case of money, I would have said, okay, the mamena. Money is just a hafsed mammon. You'll make money elsewhere. Aval kaitz, you're in pain. Every minute there's another minute of pain. The tzayda. The tzar. Amos, I would say he's allowed to get rid of the pain right away. So I would say the Chacham didn't ask it. That's why he's telling you they did. If I would learn these 2 cases, the mammon and kaitz, I'd say, okay, shumdelek a sakana. There is not really a sakana. A splinter, money, it's not a sakana. Aval bayim, when a person needs water and he's thirsty, dehydrated, it's very dangerous. Dik a sakana is a tremendous sakana. If he won't drink mayas, he'll die. I would say the Chachamim didn't ask it. Tzicha, that's why we had to tell you, no, he has to do it in a position that he's not facing the Avoda Zara. That's why we needed these 3 cases. Says, what about Tzufis Lamali? What do I need a case with the kissing of the faces where the water is coming out of? We already forbade to bow, so, which is a Isra Isa, so is kissing a Isra Isa. Maybe it's less severe, but it's still a Isra Isa. He wanted to learn that he wanted to bring out a case which has nothing to do with Avoda Zarah. He wanted to bring out even Stam to drink water from a pipe that's coming out of the ground. You shouldn't drink it because of sakana. In fact, what am I sakana? What kind of sakana is there? By drinking water directly from a pipe that's in the ground. Says Gemara Aluka, it's the leeches that might come into your body. A person shouldn't drink from the rivers, nor from the ponds. Not with his hand, and not with his mouth, and not with one hand. Why? Because one hand, you're not going to even look, because the water falls out. So the minute you take with one hand water, you throw it in your mouth, or you take it in your mouth. So it's sakana. But with 2 hands, you're allowed. You could hold the water. You could look. Oh, there's no leeches. You take a drink. Oh, but there's a leeches. We lost them up, and you take again the water.
It's the nighttime.
Oh, 1 minute. Im shasa. We'll get to that too. If he drank from the river or from the pond, in one of these 2 ways, meaning with his mouth or one hand, Dame Bereisha, he should know he killed his own self, and he's going to be chai for killing himself. Because he knew there was a sakana, and he still and all did it, so he's going to be chai for his own misa. Says the Gemara, My sakana, what kind of sakana is there? I told it to you. Here, the Gemara says it openly. Sakana aluka. The sakana is swallowing a leech. This Baraisa, that one who drinks with the leech, he caused his own death, and he's chayiv for killing himself.
You could
Is
die
that-
from that, Rabbi?
yeah, sure you could die from
From
it.
leeches?
Sure.
Swallowing them?
Swallowing them, yeah.
Wow.
So
So
he's-
doctor,
I'm not a doctor. Gemara says that. Maya says Gemara Masayel Rab Chanin. We have a right to Rab Chanin. Damar Chanina. Aboyleya Nimo Shomayim. One who swallows leech. Mutar lahachim loichamim b'Shabbos. You're allowed to warm up water for him on Shabbos. That by drinking it, he can kill. Yeah, to kill the leech in his
Like
body.
Anti-leech vaccine.
Anti-leech. Yeah, it kills it. There was a story with somebody who swallowed a leech of on Shabbos. And Rabbi Nechemiah says, yeah, you're allowed to heat up water for him to drink that hot water with Shabbos. Others say you kill it also even taking a hot bath. You fill up a hot bath, and it's really hot, and the whole body heats up and it suffocates it. Okay. Says either way, he should swallow vinegar in order that he shouldn't die right away, or let's say he couldn't heat up the water so fast. So in order till you heat up the water, it's eating up your life. You need to postpone this leech from taking over. So what you could do is take vinegar. It slows down the leech, and then while in that time you're warming up the water, and you'll be able to save yourself. This person who swallows a hornet, there's no remedy. He's not going to live.
Why is that?
A hornet. I don't know. That's what it says. It says. For sure he's not going to live.
It's like a bee.
A hornet is the black ones, the long ones. If you swallow it, it seems like it's a dangerous business over there. But at least he should drink a revius of strong vinegar. That he should prolong his life a little bit to be able to write up his tzavah and tell the family what is going to whom. Says the Gemara, Tana Rabbanan, the Rabbanan you learned, Lo yishta adamayim balayla. Here's what you just said: a person shouldn't drink water at night, even if it's gathered in a keli. If he did drink it, dama bereisha. He killed himself. Bereisha, he killed himself. No, that's because of my sakana. What's the sakana? It says you want a sakana shavride. It's a sakana of the shed that causes blindness. If you remember by Lot, when he brought in the malachim, and then all of his name came and surrounded the house. So the malachim came and they blinded everybody. It says that he hit them with it says the lashon shavridi over there. Anyway, my takanta. If he's very thirsty, what's his takana? He has to drink. He's dying. Says you want to eat if he has another person with him. He should wake up this person next to him and say to him, I'm thirsty for water. He tells his friend, and it says in Gemara Brachos, we learned in Gimel, that when there are two people, the shed is afraid. It doesn't do any harm. It doesn't start out. Only a chiyuv.
Two against one.
Right. He has a dog with him. Does that help?
I don't know. Says if there's no other person with him, then he should bang on the cover of this jug of water, so it should seem like there's another person with him. And the name of
Somebody gets up and do the night, what's he thirsty? He should drink water.
he should not drink water, meaning we're talking about in the outside, in the woods, but in the house, you're with other people, or house is enclosed. We're talking about outside.
Or in the house.
Yeah. Or b'chlal, you're in the house, is different. Says the Gemara, and he should say to himself, this enchantment, this is like abacadabacadu. First he should say his name, the ben of his mother's name. Amalach imach, he says. Your mother said, is daya b'shavri b'bridi. It's like a habakadava kedu. B'shavri b'bridi yedei b'chasi chibari. So he says these words, and that's how he chases them away. What? So
Abracadabra?
it's like abracadabra. But here, what's the Rashi says there's something to it. Mishavriri. So the word is shavriri. The second time you omit the shin, you say briri. The third time you omit the base, you say riri. And the fourth time you omit the reish, you say yuri. The last time you say ri. To diminish the shed. By Nachman, so it goes the reverse. We want to give more keiches to have Nachman. They sing Nachman. So they add letters. Here's the reverse to diminish it. I'm not sure if that's how it works, but I'm thinking in my head, maybe it works that way too. Okay, that's it.